Oklahoma on Thursday, 11 fourth-quarter points.
Yeah, Joyce Edwards finding her groove. Meanwhile, facing, like you said, a veteran Oklahoma team, they returned 98% of their scoring from last season, and then they added a post presence in Reagan Beers.
You call it presence. I'm just going to call her one of the best post players in our game. Her ability to carry her opponents is remarkable. She has great hands, great touch, finishes left, finishes right, great on the glass, and provides rim protection for this stingy Oklahoma defense.
It was a week ago today that Reagan Beers injured her left shoulder. She only played in the first half in their win over Missouri on Thursday, but is cleared and good to go for this one against South Carolina. For Oklahoma, it's not just facing the number 2 team in the nation. It's playing in this environment in front of 18,000. Here's Tahina Paopao. 1-2 step up off the window, and South Carolina scores first. Let's take a look at today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Toyota. Peyton Verhulst is coming off a career-high 38 points as Reagan Beers takes a 3 from the top of the key.
And for Oklahoma, actually for both these teams, shot selection is key because both these teams want to get out and run in transition.
Yeah, Oklahoma 7th in the nation when it comes to pace of play. Not afraid to run. They want to go fast, but South Carolina's okay with that.
I mean, Dawn Staley told us today, we're going to do what we do. She believes in her depth. She especially believes in her post depth in the matchup against Reagan Beers.
Paopao takes the shot as the shot clock winding down. It's off, and Nevaeh Tot will push the ball for the Sooners. Back out to Skylar Vann, the co-Big 12 Player of the Year last year.
And it really speaks to the depth of Oklahoma that Vann is the 4th leading scorer for this Oklahoma ball club this year.
So Hera Williams trying to put it back up and in, can't finish. Paopao scoping the floor. She finds Chloe Kitts, who gets rejected by Beers.
One thing Jenny Baranczyk kept talking about in shoot-around today, our pace in the half-court offense needs to be better. She wants to force South Carolina to chase them in the half-court.
What are we talking, ball movement there?
Ball movement and pace of cuts, because a good cut can open up a teammate as well.
Raven Johnson from the free throw line, but Oklahoma working in transition, Skylar Vann.
I think the ability to get to the outlet pass, meaning usually it's point guards, and get some pressure will be key to both teams' defensive transition today to try to slow down these offenses.
Here's Bree Hall. Swing it into the corner to Paopao. Sanaya Fagan inside. 7 seconds on the shot clock for the Gamecocks. She's going up against Reagan Beers. Stripped by Vann. Skylar Vann with the patience to let the defense go by.
If you're an Oklahoma fan, you are ecstatic with the start of Skylar Vann. Had been struggling in offensive execution lately. Head coach Jenny Baranczyk said, we have to get more from Vann. Great start for Oklahoma.
Because of Oklahoma's pace, they're not afraid to mass sub. Already 3 subs waiting at the table right now for the Oklahoma Sooners. Well, Dawn Staley's name in the headlines this week as she becomes the highest paid coach in the history of women's basketball this week. A new deal valuing over $25 million. And Jenny Baranczyk, in her 4th season with Oklahoma, she has taken them to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. And this is a team, offensively, they're 4th in the nation in scoring.
They shoot a high percentage. They know how to score the ball. The Achilles heel this season has been the turnovers. First possession of the game, turnover, but they seem to have settled in offensively.
Skylar Vann will take that. They want her to shoot the basketball.
Well, Oklahoma's going to spread you out, and so it gives them offensive board opportunities.
Tahina Paopao with the interception. Here's Raven Johnson guarded by Verhulst. Pow Pow led the nation in three-point percentage last season. Raina Scott forcing it up ahead to Liz Scott. Can't finish around Chloe Kitts. Inside to Sanaya Fagan, just short. Got her own rebound, and she'll go to the free throw line.
Well, there's a reason South Carolina consistently wins. They can beat you from the inside. And when you cheat in off of any kind of dribble penetration, you've got shooters like Pow Pow who create space. Great find by Raven Johnson for the senior.
I mean, game planning for South Carolina has got to be tough because of the balance. I mean, everyone is a scoring threat, inside and out, like you said.
And they can beat you in a variety of ways. It's not just the personnel. They can beat you inside. They can beat you from three. They can beat you on the glass, and they can beat you with their defense.
It's so interesting, the makeup of this team, because there's not a superstar on the team. Nobody's probably getting any postseason awards individually because they're such a deep team. That's how they have success.
Well, we saw it was the freshman Edwards who led them in scoring against Alabama. It's been Pow Pow a number of times. It's been for Wiley a number of times in SEC play. You've got to be so mature and disciplined defensively because you have to do your job and not just pay attention to one player.
Yeah, for reference, two of their top three scorers come off the bench. Mylasia Full-Wiley and Joyce Edwards.
And Tessa Johnson, if you just count SEC play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you get your bearings, you're doing well, and then the bench comes in.
A bench that averages 42 points per game, first in the nation.
And Oklahoma switching up the defense. It's just trying to prevent South Carolina from getting in any kind of groove.
Full-Wiley just took it back. Bree Hall corralling it, and South Carolina gets the bucket. So we're going to see who this foul was on.
If my lip reading is correct, the shot clock never restarted.
Okay.
And so I thought she said Oklahoma ball side out of bounds. I don't think there's a foul going to be called.
Okay, yeah, because the shot clock didn't start, so they got to start over.
It helps to be a middle child. You learn to read the lips of your brothers.
Yeah.
And this is where Oklahoma's really good. When they get the ball at that high post area and cut off of that.
Well, Peyton Verhulst saved the traveling call. Raina Scott resetting. Beatrice Colleton rejected by a guard, Raven Johnson.
Well, Courtney, South Carolina averages 6 blocks a game. Yes, their bigs can rim protect, but their guards do as well. This time, Raven Johnson saying, no way in my house.
Different aspects since him of life when it comes to games, when it comes to sports, life. Dawn Staley would be considered a trailblazer on the basketball court, and this season, a historic new deal. She is the highest paid women's basketball coach in the history of the sport. An annual base salary of $4 million a year now, total value of $25.25 million. She was extended through the 2029-30 season. It's incredible what she has done at South Carolina, but also what she is doing for the sport in general, not just for her own team.
Well, leaders think of others, and that's what Dawn Staley has become for the game of women's basketball at all levels. She is about growing our game, and she is selfless in that nature. And what's really remarkable is when you hear the other SEC coaches, the other coaches around the country rave about what Dawn is doing for our game. Every penny has been well earned by Dawn Staley. And in so many ways, she's put South Carolina on the map, but she's helping to put the game of women's basketball on the map to stay.
Now, she's helped bring 3 national titles to South Carolina. That last possession for the Gamecocks, Shinny Browncheck was upset because she said Raven Johnson stepped out of bounds before hitting that three-pointer. That shot missed by Mylasia Full-Wiley.
It's something to watch. We know Oklahoma wants to play with pace, but they seem sped up in the half court. They're playing fast, and they're playing with pace. Right now, I feel like Oklahoma's just playing too fast.
Do you think that's a concern specifically when it comes to turnovers for them?
Again, when you are trying to do more than what you need to do, mistakes happen. And that's some of the turnovers, because Oklahoma's turnovers this season, for the most part, have not been forced by the defense. They played Tennessee. They played Texas, two really good defensive teams. They've been unforced in the half court.
Miriam Dowda, they want more offense out of her. Speaking of Oklahoma's turnovers, you look at SEC play, 24 turnovers per game. That is leading to 23 points for opponents. 31% of their opponents points are coming off of their own turnovers.
So you can look at that glass half full or half empty, because they're basically spotting opponents. 30% of their points are scoring. But it shows how well they've been shooting the ball. So far in this game, South Carolina doing a tremendous job in the half-court defense, holding Oklahoma to just 23% field goal shooting.
Miriam Dowda battling with Reagan Beers inside, and Dowda whistled for her first foul. Zahara Williams, the catch and shoot, or was it a pass over to Skylar Vann? She's got some free throws on the way.
Oklahoma's getting shots. I talk about this every time I cover South Carolina. There's shot blocks and there's affecting shots. South Carolina affects shots, and I think that's why you're seeing Oklahoma miss some of these gimmies around the rim.
Vann misses the first. Thursday, you better get ready, because it's LSU and South Carolina, 8 Eastern here in Colonial Life Arena. College Game Day will be here. It's 7 Eastern on ESPN is when Game Day will start, ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. LSU, one of 3 unbeatens remaining coming into today.
UCLA and Maryland being the other 2. ISO for Fagan to go one-on-one.
UCLA and Ohio State being the other 2.
Yes. USC knocked off Maryland. This is a set play called by South Carolina. The overload on the right side for Fagan, just to isolate, go left. Great touch at the glass.
You know, you look at the bigs for South Carolina, and it's been, I think, 4 games now that Ashlyn Watkins has been unavailable. She tore her ACL against Mississippi State. She's out for the season. So what have you seen from that post rotation about who's stepping up and filling that spot of Watkins?
I think it's the 2 bigs on the floor right now for South Carolina. It has been Edwards and Watkins. Don Staley knows she's got to get another post in that rotation, but Watkins is being so much more assertive on the offensive end. Now, I'm sorry, Edwards is being so much more assertive on the offensive end, as well as Fagan.
Pretty take by Sanaya Fagan after Oklahoma got its first points from Reagan Beers last possession. This will stay with Oklahoma.
Sometimes your best defense against a player like who's scoring like Vann is just to go at her. Double team by Beers, comes over, too little, too late. Fagan splits them, goes up and scores.
Last 3 games for Sanaya Fagan. This is since Ashlyn Watkins has been out with that injury. 12 points, 8 points, and 8 points, but solid stat lines all the way through. She gets the rebound there and is fouled by Nevaeh Tot. There's Watkins. She's still doing her prehab. Has not had her ACL surgery yet. Of course, that's coming. But just a player, too, that, I mean, even with her standing in the paint, it'll causes opponents to see ghosts, if you will. It makes you a little second guess going inside.
I had her earlier this season where she blocked a player's shot on the right block. The ball went across the other way. She went to the left block and blocked the next shot attempt. Just bam, bam, that quickly. That's how athletic she is. But this is the one thing we keep saying about South Carolina. They have depth. They have quality depth, and it is always next player up for this program.
Zahara Williams shooting through the double team. Rebound by Edwards.
Williams took that shot, was on the ground, and sprinted back to match up with Raven Johnson in transition D.
South Carolina has hit 5 of its last 7 shots. Full Wiley looking to cook. Over to Edwards. Oh, Joyce! Looking like a veteran. Tessa Johnson almost had a steal. Verhulst gets the shot off. I mean, play this again.
I'm speechless right now because this is a freshman. Faces up, and it's just measuring up to the defender. As soon as Colton goes high, she steps around, knows that she's got that space created. Just great touch off the move.
Joyce Edwards coming off a career-high 21 points in South Carolina's win over number 19 Alabama.
Well, and that last inbounds by Oklahoma, Edwards looked like a freshman, was resting slightly, and Colton just stepped in to get that high percentage look, just couldn't finish.
That foul was the first on Chloe Kitts. She's got the takeaway up to Raven. Malaysia didn't even need to touch the ground. Fly, Lay! South Carolina can take the last shot of the quarter. They've scored 6 in a row. Malaysia full Wiley, clock winding down. She's just gonna let it go. My gosh! Mic drop, Malaysia!
Oh, Malaysia full Wiley. She does it in transition. She does it in the half court. First, it is going to be off of a turnover yet again for Oklahoma. Getting out and running. Beautiful lead pass by Raven Johnson. And I just can't tell you enough how difficult that is to time the pass, time the catch, and time to make. Oh yeah, and time a buzzer beating 3 as well. All South Carolina here in the first. Just elevates and knocks it down. Now, to her credit, for all the young people out there, she was working on those shots today at shoot-around.
Yes, she was working on her logo 3 at the end of shoot-around. And typical South Carolina balance, she is now back on the bench. South Carolina now, the 12th time this season they have held an opponent to single digits in the quarter. It's the 7th time they've done it against a ranked opponent. What's got to change for Oklahoma?
Take care of the basketball. 15 points for South Carolina off of the 6 turnovers in that first quarter. South Carolina's too good to give them extra opportunities.
Raina Scott misses. Reagan Beers with the offensive rebound. She was 1 for 3 in the first 10 minutes. Lexi Keys cutting to the basket for the bucket.
And that's what I'd like to see more of from Oklahoma. You've got to counter the high-pressure defense of South Carolina with some of those backdoors, some of the hard cuts to the rim.
Inside to Edwards, guarded by Skylar Van. Same move. Let me step around you.
Here's what's impressive by that move. Lexi Keys came with a double. Great response by Oklahoma. But Lexi Keys came with a double. Edwards didn't rush. She faded her time there and then went when it was one-on-one to score.
Oh, Tessa Johnson hit that from the baseline, behind the basket.
Pretty sure she was working on those fancy shots too today. Nice help side by Raven Johnson.
And Reagan Beers having trouble scoring. I mean, who doesn't against South Carolina? You know, Dawn Staley told us they have faced some bigs, and she felt like they've done a good job. Lauren Betts' name came up when they faced her against UCLA, Oldacre at Texas.
Here's the bottom line. We know how good the SEC is this year, but Dawn Staley had already prepared her team for SEC play by the gauntlet. I know we're calling that this 5-game stretch, but by the gauntlet of non-conference games that they faced. Over and over, it is against ranked teams that she prepares her team for conference play. Already 6 wins versus ranked opponents.
Yeah, and that's the most by anyone in the nation. When you look at quad wins, South Carolina has 7. And quad ranking, it takes into account where the game was played. So that's something new in the women's game this year that the selection committee will be looking at.
Don't you think if a team comes into Colonial Life and wins, they should get 2 wins? It's just
I don't think South Carolina would agree with that. Raven Johnson in the corner, no. Offensive rebound for Edwards. Top of the key. I mean, 2 extra chances there for South Carolina. Kitts finishes. Lexi Keys by herself in transition.
Oklahoma trying to switch up their defenses, but not everyone's able to hear because it's so loud in here. Lexi Keys countlessly repeating the defense, still could get 5 players on the same page.
Raina Scott with the fancy footwork to the hoop. So now Oklahoma's hit 4 of its last 5.
And credit them, they're doing it before South Carolina can get set up defensively.
Sooners pushing. Verhulst has not scored, coming off a career-high 38 points. We're talking about number 12 in Crimson. Inside to Beers, finishing through contact. 7-0 run, Oklahoma. Beers has 4 points, 3 rebounds.
Post-to-post string there by South Carolina, and they're trying to go right at Beers.
You know, Joyce Edwards looking for the foul call, won't get it.
Well, Courtney, you mentioned the run Oklahoma's on. It's because they're having a short memory. Once the ball goes down for South Carolina, they're getting it out quick, and they're looking for lead passes in transition before South Carolina gets back and gets matched up in the half court.
South Carolina hasn't scored since that Kitts bucket. Malaysia Fulwiley back on the floor.
So Oklahoma will do some 2-3 matchup zone on the out of bounds.
Everything's going in right now for Malaysia.
I don't know if there's a defense for Fulwiley right now.
Tot looking inside, can't go. Verhulst. Liz Scott here. And just through the arms of Bree Hall.
You've got a baseline out of bounds play. So you've got 5 players on defense right now paying attention, and it does not matter for Malaysia Fulwiley. She can create her shot whenever she wants to, and that was on full display that last possession.
I mean, we saw it when she was being recruited coming out of high school, lighting up social media with her crazy plays, and then in her very first game last year as a freshman in Paris, France, made a play that was all over SportsCenter and every social media outlet.
Well, this last defensive stand by Malaysia won't show a block, but she altered that finish by Scott. It's the equivalent of a missed shot. South Carolina ball. She can do it all. I mean, I think the next phase for her is to become that lockdown defender that people just fear, because she's got all the tools to do that now.
It's been interesting, too, to watch how Dawn Staley handles her. Sometimes she'll let her play through it. Sometimes she's over on the bench sitting next to Dawn. Dowda, catch and shoot. Nevaeh top for three. Rebound by Scott. Swiped by Breezy. Up ahead to Fagan, and she's fouled.
Well, Courtney, it's been all Malaysia full volley. 7 points in only 8 minutes of action. And it's not just the points. It is the wow moments that this young lady is creating for the game. Got to go back to the three-point shot. Just time, score, knows it, knocks it down. And then defense can be set. Doesn't matter. She will create her bucket.
The last few games, where 3 out of the last 4 games have had over 20 turnovers.
And one thing Jenny Baranczyk said, because if you watch this offense, it's about flow, it's about feel. Well, she said the 2 Achilles heel to this offense, turnovers and fouls. It just cuts the flow, it cuts that chemistry and momentum for them, and you just can't get any positive momentum going when you're turning the ball over.
Already 8 turnovers for Oklahoma today. They average just over 19 turnovers a game. That's 316th in the nation. They rank 353 teams, just for the record.
Thanks for that clarification.
You're welcome.
And I mean, this is an offense of Oklahoma that is second in assists in the country, averaging 22 a game, and they shoot the ball extremely well, average 88 points. Why are they only 3-2 in the SEC? To your point, the turnovers.
Yeah. Back in 30 seconds, South Carolina up big at home. Who do you think is which?
Well,
it's pretty interesting
for this game.
Yeah. It's interesting because the stats kind of align. I mean, these two teams statistically have some strengths, but the turnovers holding Oklahoma back.
And this is a South Carolina program. If you remember 4 years ago, I remember Don Sale used to say to her team, throw it up there before we turn it over. And now it's a strength of their ball security, mainly because of point guard play that she has now.
I mean, the wingspan by Joyce Edwards on display.
But that was one thing Jenny Baranczyk talked about. She said, don't get me wrong, South Carolina is so good, but we have some similarities. Both head coaches want to run a system to where their players play freely. Both want to have a pace of play. And honestly, as much as we talk about the offense for Oklahoma, their defense has improved so much this year, a lot because of rim protection of Reagan Beers. But it is the turnovers that is the biggest difference in these two programs right now, and why South Carolina's sitting at 5-0 in the league, and Oklahoma's at 3-2.
Well, Oklahoma brings in 4 new players. Malaysia, finger roll, and a big smile on her face. Into Beers. And Reagan Beers now 6 points.
And that's when she's at her best. A high-low at a transition. She buried the defender, showed her numbers, easy pass, easy score.
The long 2 for Beers gets the bounce.
And that's one thing she's added and tried to improve on is her outside shooting since transferring to Oklahoma. But if I'm South Carolina, I'm okay with giving her the outside shot because that takes her off the offensive glass.
She's their leading scorer and rebounder. Full Wiley stepping into it, not afraid of any shot right now. For Wiley's got 9 to lead South Carolina.
And all of them have been just jaw-dropping. This time at a transition, Beers is there to challenge, and Wiley knows she's going to be challenged, so she just extends the ball away and around the defender. And then again, some people can do that. Not many can do that with the touch to finish it off the glass like she just did.
She's subbed out now for South Carolina. Oh, Pow's by herself. Ooh, too much. It's going to stay with South Carolina. Landry Allen went after it for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm wondering, unless she thought her teammate deflected that shot.
Yeah.
So the matchup zone by Oklahoma on the baseline out of bounds. And then they switch back to man.
Well, they wanted to change up their defensive looks. Seven seconds on the shot clock here for South Carolina. Fagan just had to step backwards, won't get the lucky bounce. That last break, we were talking a little bit about Oklahoma's spacing. What do you think about it right now?
It's when they have been able to execute an offense, they've had good spacing. And I'm sorry, when Reagan Beers has the seal, Oklahoma has to get her the ball down low.
Fagan rejects the shot, and the Gamecocks will take it.
Courtney, that's one thing Jenny Baranczyk has said, that they're still learning to play with Reagan Beers. They miss her a lot because this is the first time that Oklahoma's had a true low post player since Baranczyk's arrival in Norman. Beers had the seal early in that possession. Her teammates missed her, so then once she got it, help side was there to get that block.
In the preseason, in the non-conference, she wasn't able to practice a ton. So getting used to her while returning all 5 starters from last season and then having this setback with a shoulder injury a week ago today, Jenny told us, I've underestimated a little bit how long it's taken us to get used to playing with a big post presence.
And when you play an offense like Oklahoma does, you can't think. You just got to go. And so I think some of it is still the transition of, we got a great low post player, I need to get it into her, versus, hey, I'm open to taking this outside shot.
Tessa Johnson steps into the mid-range game as South Carolina gets look after look. Offensive foul against Reagan Beers, her first.
So that's going to be another one of those unforced turnovers, but more importantly, that's going to be a foul on Reagan Beers. And this is a player that Oklahoma has to be able to sub as they want. Here's the key for Oklahoma. At home, Reagan Beers is averaging 18 points a game, averaging just under 2 fouls a game. On the road, her average drops 12 points a game, and she's averaging almost 4 fouls a game.
Interesting. So just one foul. Jenny Baranczyk subs her out to save her for the last minute. Adele Tack just checked in for South Carolina.
So the 5th post player that Dawn Staley's brought into this game today.
Jump ball, possession arrow to the Gamecocks. It's South.
Well, consistency of South Carolina on the glass, and there's fighting Sahara Williams. She's not going to back down, and you could just tell, just ripping the ball clear there.
Oh, wow. The vision to see Joyce underneath from Raven Johnson. Edwards has 9. Williams misses. Landry Allen with the rebound. Oklahoma can take the last shot of the half. South Carolina with its largest lead. Taken away by Bree Hall. Right down Main Street. South Carolina will take its largest lead of the day into the locker room, and Mylasia Fulwiley has already had a highlight reel full of plays today.
What Dawn Staley's saying, she wants more action between the wow moments. It was all wow moments in the first half.
Let's get you back to the studio. South Carolina up 49-24 at the half.
Welcome into your Jeep halftime report. I'm Taylor Tannenbaum, getting to hang out on Sunday with this Hall of Fame head coach, Muffet McGraw. South Carolina there with that.
How Reagan Beers fared against South Carolina. What did you see in the first 20 minutes?
Well, I saw her get a little fatigued there late in the second quarter, because Dawn Staley just keeps throwing posts at her, and they're running, and they're trying to isolate her at different times. What Oklahoma needs to do is, when there's a low post seal, doesn't matter if it's Fan, doesn't matter if it's Beers, they can't hesitate. They've got to see the pass before they make the pass.
Yeah, Reagan Beers calling for it. She gets it, number 52 in crimson, over to Sahara Williams. And South Carolina comes out with the basketball. Up ahead to Raven Johnson. The Gamecocks ended the half on a 6-0 run. Oklahoma hasn't scored in over 3 minutes.
They need to get something out of transition.
Down low to Skylar Van. Will go to the free throw line for 2.
And this is what we're used to seeing from Oklahoma. Transition, high-low action. It doesn't necessarily mean Beers down low. It could be Van. It could be Williams. Nice to see them come out of the half and execute.
Jenny Baranchek said numerous times this would be a good barometer for where are we at as a program. Of course, remember, first year in the SEC. So Oklahoma hasn't played South Carolina since 2009.
And you can't underestimate how difficult that is. Now that you've hit January, that since they played Texas, a foe in the Big 12, the next 4 weeks are against teams that you are not used to playing against. So that's a new scout every night for these players, for these coaches. That's a steep learning curve for this program. And including Oklahoma, one of the deepest conferences in the country this season.
Sanaya Fagan whistled for her first foul to put Sahara Williams at the free throw line. She was an All Big 12 honorable mention last season, one of their starters. You know, we talked about Oklahoma's turnovers. On the other side, South Carolina only had 2 turnovers in the first half.
There's just so many ways that we can praise the first half performance for South Carolina. Obviously, they looked really good on offense, but I thought their defense was really stingy, holding Oklahoma lowest shooting percentage, holding them to their lowest points, and this is the 4th highest scoring offense in the country in Oklahoma.
Yeah, they average 88 a game. With the clock winding down, Tahita Pau goes back. Reagan Beers turns around and knocks it down. They'll put her in double figures.
Fagan immediately looks at Dawn Staley. Dawn Staley says it's okay, because what Fagan's doing is playing team defense by backing off, preventing any of those cuts. Great read by Beers there just to elevate and knock it down.
Fagan, a little short corner action. South Carolina is shooting 47% from the field. They were shooting 50% at halftime. Same spot, back to back.
Almost the same spot for Fagan.
Just left it a little bit short. Pass inside to Beers.
And that, she didn't finish because of Raven Johnson's help side defense there. She comes over and just affects Beers' shot.
Pau up at the top of the key. 3 subs waiting for Oklahoma at the table. 6 seconds for Raven. Short rebound by Kitts. Over to Sanaya Fagan. Block to block. Top throws it away. Oh my. Little runner for Raven. South Carolina continuing the flow out of the locker room.
I'm a teacher and I'm sick of working hard.
Of South Carolina. Couple possessions ago, Raven Johnson creates dribble penetration for her team. She doesn't score, but off of the dribble penetration, it forces rotation by the bigs of Oklahoma. First, it's Van coming over, which leaves Chloe Kitts untouched to get the offensive rebound. Then Reagan Beers has to rotate to defend her. Sanaya Fagan just feasts on the weak side.
It's an unselfish team that knows how to share the basketball. You've heard us say it, and we'll say it again. The balance is dangerous for South Carolina.
Courtney, one thing I just really want to talk about is in this day and age where kids jump in a portal, where kids are looking for the highest dollar amount, what they have built here at South Carolina is really remarkable, that kids check their ego. Someone like Sanaya Fagan doesn't play much for 3 years and now is starring in her fourth year. You don't see players who believe in their head coach, believe in what they can be, and this is why I love this program. It's a throwback to what my generation was. You go to a school, you commit to a school, you commit to a coach, and you finish there. And it's paying off, obviously, in national championships, but it's also paying off in the fact that these young ladies are becoming pros. 12 former players playing in the WNBA. It's a great infomercial for what Dawn Staley's doing here.
Joyce Edwards wanted the foul, finished through the contact anyway. And the transition bucket for Skylar Van. And Dawn has been asked several times, how do you get players to stay? And she said, I've been honest with them from the beginning. It's always an honest conversation.
I think that's one of the parts of Dawn Staley's leadership that really doesn't get enough credit. It's her communication ability, how direct she is with these young women.
I think a great example of that is Tahina Paopao, who transferred in from Oregon last year and decided to stay for another year because of how much she learned from Dawn Staley last season, wanted to do it again.
Well, and by doing it again, let's just talk about last year's leading three-point shooter in the country. You can't let her get her feet set or she's going to make you pay.
Yeah, South Carolina won the national championship last year. They went undefeated. Their last 4 seasons, 126 wins and 4 losses. That is a crazy record.
This is two-man action by Edwards and for Wiley. Unfortunately, she turns it over.
Raven got it back. South Carolina's got numbers and an open Breezy Hall. I mean, last season, South Carolina was the 10th team to go undefeated and win a national championship. It was their 7th 30-win season in the last 10 years as Peyton Verhulst hits her first points today.
Well, I asked Raven Johnson about that today. Obviously can't go undefeated because of their loss to UCLA, but I just said, hey, was that a good loss? And she goes, not a good loss, but good for us. Got us refocused, and I think we're a new team since then.
How do they look different since then?
I think they've gotten into defense a little bit more. I think individual players are playing better together. It's not easy to win. It's definitely not easy to win back-to-back. And there are new pieces with this season. You don't have the rim protection of Camila Cardozo, so that's new in terms of the defense for South Carolina.
Foul on Beatrice Colleton. Well, South Carolina has loved playing in this building. They have won 67 straight games at home, 52 straight against SEC opponents, trying to extend that today. This is a We Back Pat game where we continue Pat Summit's fight against Alzheimer's disease. And you see Pat's resume, incredible. There's a statue on Tennessee's campus of Pat Summitt for a very good reason. 8 national titles, over 1,000 wins. And the Pat Summitt Foundation this year was able to launch, well, it's been less than a year now, Pat's Game Plan, a guide for Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers. So Pat, not just fighting against the disease, but helping those caregivers, caring for those that have this.
Always the leader was Pat Summitt. Thought of others before herself, even during the hardest time of her life. And her legacy is obviously her student athletes, her championships, but just as importantly, the Pat Summitt Foundation.
Yeah, the Pat Summitt Foundation, not just helping people in the state of Tennessee, it expands nationwide. And the Pat's Game Plan, it's free for anyone. You can go online and get that for caregivers. A great resource that I know the Pat Summitt Foundation is extremely proud of. You see South Carolina with their We Back Pat shirts on too. Oklahoma had special We Back Pat shirts for their warm-ups today.
I think that's at least the 5th turnover for Oklahoma, just trying to make that post pass. Not just to the bigs, but also to guards when they've had a seal and just not able to deliver it where it needs to go.
24 points off of those turnovers for South Carolina.
So you're seeing a matchup zone now by Oklahoma.
Bree Hall just crushed a 3. 7 3-pointers today for South Carolina.
And there's something to be said just about how calm South Carolina is. Changing defenses does not affect them because they prep for it, but they're just selfless. They just keep moving the ball.
Beatrice Colton and Bree Hall both went for the basketball, and Bree Hall with a smile on her face now, but did a flip going for the basketball.
Again, these are 2 competitive teams, and little arm entanglement there. Great job by the officials to get in there quick. Honestly, I think a little bit of that was just the momentum of Bree Hall getting into that jump ball.
I didn't see anything extra there. They just called it a jump ball, possession arrow pointing to the Gamecocks.
Joyce Edwards, the point guard now for South Carolina.
Just bring it fine. Whatever you need, Coach.
South Carolina, and I love it when they get in the 2-man action with Edwards and Fulwiley, because you just don't know what's going to be created between the 2 of them.
They used to play against each other in high school. In fact, faced off in a state championship game, and Malaysia put up 41 points on Joyce's team. Joyce has not forgotten that. Transition 3 for Tessa Johnson. Gets whistled for the foul. You could hear Colonial Life Arena starting to get loud. A sold-out crowd for a South Carolina program that has led the nation in attendance the last 10 seasons.
Bottom line, when you come into this arena, this team just plays better. I know everybody plays better at home, but I almost feel like it's a 15-point advantage minimum when they come into this arena because of this fan base. It's an educated fan base. It is a loud fan base.
Yeah, they'll line up over 2 hours before game time to get in the door. They're going to have to line up early on Thursday because College Game Day is coming to town for the battle with LSU.
So, Courtney, that's an example. Beers is working so hard. She's telling the guards where to send the ball. Instead, ball's caught in the corner, held on, and then trying to get it in. That ball has to be sent in so much sooner.
Still trying to perfect and get comfortable with having that post presence for the first time under Jenny Baranchek at Oklahoma.
Up and in, they got her net. Again, too much delay there.
They had a couple of chances to get her the basketball. Will Wiley go up and block that?
Yes.
Joyce Edwards, other end, the pass from Tessa. Largest lead for South Carolina at 39.
Well, we've talked about Malaysia Fulwiley's offense. Let's talk about the defense. Gets beat, does not give up on the play, gets the block, and then what does South Carolina get out and do? They're running. Great lead pass by Tessa Johnson to find Joyce Edwards.
Reagan Beers will shoot 2 after she was fouled by Tahina Paopao. Well, women's basketball takes over the SEC Network every Thursday this week. Georgia Amore and number 12 Kentucky against Texas A&M. Christy will be on the call for that one at 7. And in Madison Booker, the battle of the UTs, Texas and Tennessee. That'll take place in Austin.
Well, if you like defense, tune into that Texas-Tennessee game.
Yes. Checking into the game now for South Carolina. You see number 1 in the white jersey. That's Maddie McDaniel, a freshman, number 14 overall recruit. She's been coming back from a concussion, but was playing really well before that.
Remarkable as a point guard, as a freshman point guard, to have the assist to turnover ratio that she does. As a coach, I was always thrilled as a freshman at a 1-to-1. This young lady has a 5.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. She just doesn't make bad mistakes.
She hasn't had more than 2 turnovers in a game. Reagan Beers is getting looked at by the training staff for Oklahoma in the tunnel right now. It was a week ago today that she had a left shoulder injury, was only able to play 10 minutes on Thursday in their win over Missouri, and that was all in the first half.
Well, there was a possession about 2 times ago where you could just tell she got popped really good in that shoulder. Just hope she's okay.
Their leading scorer and rebounder. Van wide open. Soak it.
Oklahoma has to be pleased with Skylar Van's aggressiveness on the offensive end here. I know the scoreboard doesn't reflect a lot, but this young lady's almost had a mind shift tonight. She has been aggressive. She's hunted her shots.
There's going to be an offensive foul. On South Carolina, and here comes Beers back to the bench.
I mean, Courtney, for the future of South Carolina, right now you have a junior in Dowd in her first year at South Carolina. You have 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores. And there's no let up.
Wow.
They just continue to reload year after year.
Miriam Dowda is at the free throw line. We got to talk to her today at shoot around, transferred in from Arkansas, and it's been such a different stop for her at South Carolina. She said her confidence is growing. Also, her defense has taken some big steps.
Which I was shocked, because I remember a game last year, I think she had like 8 blocks against Alabama. I mean, there's rim protection, and they're just telling people, don't even come near me.
I would also say, too, Arkansas' style of play doesn't usually favor defense. Like, it's not a huge emphasis. Lots of playing fast, going to shoot the basketball.
Well, and really being a true low post was not part of her repertoire a year ago. So she's learning a new skill set. And what I really love is that you can tell she's eager to embrace all of this learning.
2 seconds, Oklahoma's got to get a shot up. And it's going to be a shot clock violation. South Carolina will have 6.4 seconds to take the last shot of the quarter. They have put up 30 points here in the third quarter compared to just 16 from Oklahoma.
I'm kind of surprised my Lager's not getting the ball here to go one-on-one.
Is that like selfish? Did you just want to see if she'll drop another logo 3?
Fan.
Oh, she's waiting, thought about it. Foul off. 10 minutes to go as South Carolina tries to extend its 67 home game win streak. Philadelphia Eagles fan, that's where she's from. And I don't know if she knows what the score is, but I can tell you at halftime it's 13-10 in favor of the Eagles. I will never forget this video back in February of 2018 when the Eagles picked up their first Super Bowl win.
Eagles! Philadelphia Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S! Eagles!
Everyone on that floor of the hotel was awake after that. was pretty amazing.
It's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, what do you say?
She is a sports fan.
Super fan.
Through and through.
If you were watching NFL Countdown, you saw that Dawn picked the Eagles to win by 2 touchdowns. So
see, this is where I think everyone assumed she was talking about the Eagles. Right now, it could be this score.
Yeah, it could be. South Carolina has dominated Oklahoma, who is the number 13 team in the nation. They have led by as many as 40 points today.
But what I will say about them is I like how Oklahoma has come out of that break. 2 touches for Beers, 2 buckets for Beers. Good passes leading her to score.
Wide open Tessa. Offensive rebound, Raven. 17 second chance points for South Carolina.
And Raven Johnson, known as a playmaker, known as a great on-ball defender, but she's averaging over 1 offensive rebound a game. That is the point guard for the Gamecocks doing that.
Reagan Beers lets the three-pointer fly. That's her 5th three-pointer this season.
And I don't know what Jenny Baranchek and her staff said to Reagan Beers at the break, but has responded with 7 quick points.
You know, she's got 20 points today. It's the 6th time this season that she's had 20 or more points in a game, and that's her season high in SEC play. And short on the long 2.
Well, Courtney, I mentioned how impressed I have been to start this 4th quarter for Reagan Beers. You see her, post player defensively, got her on the high side. And so the ball gets moved to the top. No way for help side to get there in time. And then you just see the pure strength of Reagan Beers to rip it through. And so next time, Fagan plays off. Beers says, I got you.
3 ball. It's good to see her back in the game. She was being attended to by the training staff in the tunnel.
You know, I will take that turnover for Oklahoma. 1, it's a dead ball turnover, allows them to get set. But 2, it's because Beers is working and her team's trying to get her the ball inside.
Dowda stepping through the double team. You know, since Ashton Watkins has been out, South Carolina has been looking for either Adele Tack, Miriam Dowda, or Sakima Walker to step up and be that extra post presence that they need. For Miriam Dowda, who's on the floor right now, number 30 in white, it's the offensive piece. They know she has it, just haven't shown up yet in that South Carolina uniform.
I mean, it was remarkable to hear the confidence that Dawn Staley has and Miriam Dowda.
Okay.
And I got confidence in Reagan Beers right now.
23 points.
Feeding the hot hand.
3 for 3. Just trading the long ball.
You were saying?
For 3. Lexi Keys.
Well, for Oklahoma, they average almost 9 made threes a game. Until this 4th quarter started, they were only at 3. So nice to see them get going.
Oklahoma's actually outscored South Carolina 13-10 here in the 4th quarter. Sooners only scored 9 points in the 1st quarter. They were outscored 28-9 to start the game.
Over to the wing and then in. That pass has got to get delivered quicker. Well, we like scoring, and I like the threes. Reagan Beers gets it started from deep for Oklahoma. And then, of course, Tessa Johnson, the sharpshooter for South Carolina, says, I got it. Look at Pow Pow just celebrating on the baseline. Lexi Keys loves that corner 3 out of transition. A little momentum going now for Oklahoma. Can they build on this?
Oklahoma 5 for 5 in this quarter from the field. Inside to Kitts. Got the bucket. Gonna get a free throw, too.
Well, Chloe Kitts just has a little step up when the ball comes high, gets the defender on her backside, and this is the length and the improvement of Chloe Kitts. With that new strength, she can score through contact.
Been a focus for her, getting in the weight room, eating more so that she can battle inside. She said she would watch film of herself last year, and she was just always falling down on the floor. Can handle the physicality now. In and out. Kitts with the rebound.
Nice job by Scott to stop or slow the transition of South Carolina.
Ooh, in and out for Raven. South Carolina's hit 10 threes today. That's going to be a foul against Kitts. Well, our Australian Open coverage continues tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN+, continues on ESPN2. At 8:30 Eastern, every match throughout the tournament is available on ESPN+.
Courtney, I like Reagan Scott's game, especially for this Oklahoma offensive system. She just gets busted out of the cannon, it seems, when they get a defensive rebound, because she pushes tempo.
Yeah, a key weapon for them off the bench.
Jenny Baranczyk has basically 3 point guards that she can cycle through. You got Todd, you got Scott, and you got Zaya Van as well.
Todd, Scott, and Van. Just sounds like a law group or something.
I feel like you're looking for another NIL deal for some student athletes.
Always. Joyce Edwards, I feel like you just can't speed her up. She knows what she wants.
She may know it, but she gets it.
Yes.
She's patient, she's skilled, she's strong. Joyce Edwards gets the ball anywhere near the paint. She puts pressure on the defense because she's calculated, she reads it, she scores it.
Carolina, the #2 team in the nation, has looked pretty good in a ranked battle with Oklahoma. South Carolina is led by as many as 42 points today. They've got 5 players in double figures.
Well, a lot's been made about the gauntlet of this stretch for South Carolina, 5 straight ranked opponents. And all they've done is beat #5 Texas 67-50, Alabama 76-58, Oklahoma well in control now. And then obviously a big one coming up on Thursday with LSU.
Yeah, LSU coming to town on Thursday. 3 seconds here for the Sooners. And Williams leaves it short. It'll be a shot clock violation. But LSU South Carolina, that has grown into a rivalry over the last few seasons. Going to be interesting to see. LSU got a win over Florida today. Anissa Morrow is their big player inside. She had another double-double, leads the nation in that category, 20 points and 10 rebounds today.
You've got coaching star power. You've got player star power. You've got great offenses. You've got 2 defensive-minded coaches, 2 coaches who believe in rebounding the ball. It's going to be interesting. I'm eager to see LSU's start to the game. Their recent games, they have struggled to get off to good starts, including today at Florida. South Carolina has fixed their slow start issue.
We've been talking about it Thursday. It's LSU, South Carolina. That's at 8 Eastern. Now, the College Game Day crew is going to be here at Colonial Life Arena. That starts at 7 on ESPN, ESPN+, and Disney+. LSU, one of the 3 unbeatens. I know the game's going to be good, but I think everybody also is wondering, what are the fits going to be like for the 2 head coaches?
We have always talked about how we would love to get into Kim Mulkey's closet. I'm sorry, I want to see Dawn Staley's closet.
Yes. Well, Holly Rowe got to go in Kim Mulkey's closet a couple years ago when they won the national championship. So I think Dawn is next. Both have great style. Your SEC standings right now, South Carolina, LSU, Kentucky up at the top of the standings, undefeated in conference play.
Kentucky is going to have a February to remember in terms of they're then going to go through their gauntlet. Only 2 teams will they face off against that aren't ranked in February as of this point. But you know what? The more things change, the more they stay the same. It still looks like a collision course right now between South Carolina and LSU.
What about Texas?
Again, there will be a rematch in Austin
Yes.
in February between South Carolina, but just the way South Carolina's handling their business right now, I'll be really eager to see the adjustments Texas makes from last week's loss.
Have you seen a weakness for South Carolina?
You know, they don't finish consistently at the rim this season, the way we've seen them in the past. It can get better, obviously. I think, and we've seen this today, much better job of taking care of the ball because 37 turnovers in the previous 2 games coming into today. Have done a great job of only 4 turnovers today, and sometimes it's just been players being too unselfish. Like at times I've wanted Mylasia Fulwiley to take over games because she's been looking to set her teammates up too much. We just jinxed them with the 5th.
Yeah. Still, 5 turnovers is pretty good. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Always a teammate.
I got you. South Carolina came out the gate, scored 28 points in the first 10 minutes and only gave up 9 points, and they have not let go of control since then. Fulwiley keeps on coming full steam. She's up to 15 points.
Van's got the mismatch down low. Oklahoma cannot get it to her.
Just overthrew it. Another look at the Fulwiley bucket on the other end.
Well, which one? Oh,
yeah,
the most recent.
Oh, that one.
Again, South Carolina is so good when they get out in transition. The little in-out, it just makes the defender freeze for a second, and she just gets by her.
Joyce Edwards is leading South Carolina today with 17 points. Fulwiley is second with 15, and they both come off the bench.
Well, here's the other thing. South Carolina goes to the bench. Now they have 2 6'5" players on the floor.
Sakima Walker.
Great box out there by Johnson.
Fulwiley poked at it. Allen off the mark on the 3. They're trying to get the ball inside to Adele Tack.
I like the growth of Landry Allen for Oklahoma the last couple of games. Had not played many minutes. Last 3 games now, doubling her scoring average and just making winning plays for this ball club.
Aubrey Jones hits. South Carolina just dropped 100 points on the 13th ranked team in the nation.
Courtney, do you think the bench was celebrating the 100 points or Adele Tack? Because this is
Adele,
a
for
true
sure.
picture of chemistry and culture for South Carolina.
South Carolina's played 12 players and 10 of them have scored. Short. Now South Carolina can just get it across half court and hang on to the basketball. Led by as many as 43 points. They will pick up their first ever win against Oklahoma. And that home win streak feels pretty good to be at home for the Gamecocks. 68 straight home wins. That is now tied for 8th in NCAA history.
Well, Jenny Moronchek said, this will be a measuring stick for my team. I liked how they battled in the fourth quarter. They can only learn from this and get better. I saw improvement in the fourth, but the gold standard in the SEC until someone else proves us wrong is South Carolina. A dominant performance on both ends of the floor today.
Season high with 101 points for South Carolina. They get the win over Oklahoma. Let's get you back to Taylor in the studio. We will have Malaysia Fulwiley in just a moment. Take it away, Taylor.
All right, thank you, ladies. We'll send it back out.
Fulwiley drops 15 points as South Carolina puts up 101 points, a season high. They get the win over Oklahoma. And Malaysia, you heard Coach Muffet McGraw talking about the loss to UCLA. Was that a turning point? How did it impact you guys to make you who you are today?
I really think the loss just motivated us to want to be better, want to do better for ourselves. And it was like a wake-up call, really. A good one, though. Like, we needed it. We know we have the teams. I mean, I know we have the players. We have everything we need to win the national championship. But we just really had to put it all together. And I think that day showed us that we're not nowhere near close.
Malaysia, a lot of wow moments today. But for you personally, what's the next step in your own growth, and what more should we expect from you?
It's really just knowing when and when not to do certain things. I mean, I feel like me as a player, I got a whole lot of tricks up my sleeve, and sometimes I kind of get complacent with what I did in the first half. So really just staying good, staying great on defense, and just knowing myself, knowing when and when not to do certain things.
Look, it's a short sleeve, but there's a lot of tricks up there, and we saw them a lot in the first half. What were you feeling comfortable with as we take a look at some of your highlights from today?
Really just driving. I wanted to shoot more mid-ranges this game, but my opening drives, it was working for me, so I just started to do that a little bit more. And then that three-pointer that I shot, I really was just feeling it. I put up a lot of shots in the gym tonight by myself, so I was very confident when I shot that.
Okay, yeah, look at this three-pointer. I mean, you took your time. What were you thinking during that moment?
She's backing up, so, I mean, I can just shoot it or force a layup, and I felt like shooting it was kind of the easy thing to do and also the smartest thing to do.
And you hit it.
Yeah. I was so excited.
So here's the thing, 11 seconds. At any moment, did you maybe think of doing something else, or did you know that whole time you were measuring her up of what you wanted to do?
Yeah, definitely. When I started seeing her like step back, I was like, okay, if I shoot, I got a high percentage of making it because I was shooting these last night by myself, and I was like, if I shoot it, I mean, it's a buzzer beater, so nothing can happen. I can't get taken out the game, so I just shot it.
Malaysia, playing with all the different weapons you have, what is it like to play with the balance on this team?
It's kind of easy. I mean, I feel like it's hard at times when you want to just do everything by yourself, but knowing that you have a good post that's posted up and that's going to finish it every time, that puts a lot of relief on me, and it makes me feel good about passing them and knowing that I won't get the ball turned over giving it to them.
Big game coming up Thursday. I don't know if you know who that is or not.
Yeah,
LSU.
Yeah.
Just give us what you think right now. Big key to that game.
Get ready. I mean, I feel like they're getting ready, but we have to start right now. I mean, we won this game by a lot, but things move on, teams change, and we can't get complacent with where we are. We just got to keep going out there and hitting everybody first.
Malaysia, congratulations. Big win today over a ranked team. 101 points, a season high for South Carolina. Taylor, take it away.
Both of y'all could take a turn here. It seems like fast starts have become the norm for this team now. Just what has changed in that regard since, I guess, a few games early in the season where it was always kind of the slow start?
I think really it started with us. We have a great team, and I think sometimes we can get complacent. And I feel like we all just came together and we compete. We compete in practice, and we pushed us, the second group, we pushed the first group to give it all they got. And I feel like ever since then, they've been killing it.
Quick two-parter for you, Malaysia. One, what were you thinking to yourself when the clock was winding down in the first quarter right before you took that shot? And two, what was it about Oklahoma's pace of play and just what allowed you to kind of have the game that you did on offense and on defense?
First, what I was thinking about is she's backing up, so I might as well shoot. I can't get taken out the game because it's a buzzer beater. So, but and then the second question, really I just looked at them and I seen an opening in the hole and I took it. And Sanaya, she told me to go up and don't worry about getting my shot blocked, and that's what I did today, and it worked out for me.
Tonight, another game where you guys were great offensively and hit 10 threes. I think you're at almost 1.4 points per possession. What about a game like this where you're kind of forced into playing maybe faster than usual do you think makes you guys so comfortable playing?
Well, I mean, we're a transition team, so like we enjoy transition, but I'd say we go inside, outside, and we just go from there, honestly.
Michael?
Last week, you guys set a season high for turnovers with 22. Today, you guys were much better ball security, almost set a season low. I guess for both of you, just what was different, last week compared to tonight?
Let me go first. Well, basically, with me, I can say I've been having a couple of mini turnovers a lot lately, but I try to say like just looking at the opening, giving it to my man, or giving it to my teammate where I know that the other person cannot get the ball, and just being dominant when I get it. So yeah.
Basically what she said. I mean, sometimes we have a lot of tall people, so we feel like they can catch anything, they can grab anything, and other teams, they do a good job with just running through our passes. And today I felt like we just was patient, and that's what helped us not really turn the ball over.
Thank you. Malaysia, this is for you. I know you guys try to focus on whoever the opponent is next game, but it's a big week coming up with LSU and then with Tennessee. How good does a game like this feel going into a week like this, both for you personally and the team?
For me personally, it feels good. I mean, I like playing good because it motivates me to play even better and outdo myself. So, and as a team, I feel like we all just motivates each other to want to do good. I mean, we never pout when we don't play good. We just motivate the next person, motivate the next teammate, and that works out in our favor a lot. And I think the love that we have for each other is going to get us through these tough games this next week coming up.
In the back on the left.
Sanaya, you guys breaking 100 points for the first time this season. What was the celebration like for Adele being the one to put you guys over 100 points, and how would you describe her and her role as a teammate?
I mean, she just stayed ready. When her number was called, she went out there and did what she had to do. And just to know that her getting the N1 and just everybody celebrated for her, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Staying in the back, guys.
Oh, sorry about that. For both of you, 13-game winning streak, 6 in conference play. How dangerous is this team? Do you guys feel that you guys are right now, and describe why you guys are playing so well from you all's perspective?
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like this year we're not going to really get into the game winning streak. We're just focusing on executing our gameplay and what we practiced the week prior to the game, and just motivating each other to be better. I mean, a basketball game you want to win, of course, but we're focusing on doing the right things, intangibles, the little things that's going to help us succeed and help us win. So that's really what we're focusing on.
She said it all.
All right, yeah, I've got 2 questions, but Malaysia, first off, what is the play call on that 3? Is it your job to kind of just go downhill and do whatever you want in isolation, or is the play call that 3? Yeah.
Well, I only made 1 3. Sorry, but only Raven. When Raven had the ball, Coach told Raven to give me the ball, so I was like, okay, I have 8 seconds left, and I can either shoot it or I can either drive. And I've been driving a lot, and I felt like I needed to mix it up, and I just shot it. And when it went in, I was so excited, and I was so happy that my teammates were so excited for me.
Yeah, that's huge. And then you both combined for 5 blocks today. Talk me through your defensive effort today and what that means to be getting blocks like that.
Block today?
Yeah, I had a block. I really just be, what's the word called? I really just stand motivated on defense, because at times I can really just relax. And this game, I just wanted blocks.
I mean, I feel like it starts with defense. When you get your defense going, then your offense end up coming to you as well. So just staying in the help side, having my teammates back, and just being there when they need me to.
In the back there.
For either of y'all, obviously that first quarter start was amazing, but what does it say about the consistency of this team to, through 4 quarters, be able to dominate like that against the ranked Oklahoma team?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What does it mean for the consistency of the team to be able to dominate through 4 quarters against the ranked Oklahoma team?
I mean, we have a lot of 5 stars on the bench as well. So, like, when the first 5 get tired, we have 5 more coming in, ready to play hard and give it their all. So I can say the consistency is just everybody stays ready when their number is called.
Definitely.
Mylasia, can you take us through the other play you had at the end of the first quarter, the kind of the midair finish off the pass from Raven? It's the second game in a row you've kind of had something like that in transition.
I feel like Chloe, she did a good job with throwing the ball up, and then Raven, I knew she was going to hit me, but I wasn't surprised when she threw the alley, and we practiced that a lot in practice. We have a lot of drills that consist of a 3-man weave, multiple drills, and I just felt like it was another drill in practice, really. And when it went in, I was just like, thank you, Jesus, because if it didn't, then I would have regretted going up in the air. I would have rather coming down.
I think it was October and November. You kind of told me that this season is about being more than a flashy player. You had 7 assists today, obviously the block and steals and things like that. I guess when you have these complete games, both where you have the flashy plays on offense, but also the defensive effort as well, do you kind of look at that as exactly where you want to be and use that as a growth point going forward?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It always makes me feel good when I play on both sides of the court. Both sides of the floor. And it motivates me to want to do a little bit more. And today was one of those days. I feel like I have more in my tank. And I honestly didn't think I played as good as I could have. But it just motivates me to want to do better. And I love defense. I'm starting to find my love for defense. And I'm excited to see how far I go with it.
You guys were 2 of the 5 to finish with double digits scoring today. Just do you kind of find yourself feeding off of each other on offense where when somebody gets hot, kind of the rest of you get hot, just for both of you?
Honestly, I do, because it's like when one get hot and then they just assist the other, like we just get everybody involved when we all feel good. So we feel good, assist another one, get each other high, we all get to going, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. Sanaya, you talked about when the first 5 come in and then the next 5, this wave of players, but you guys did have a huge injury loss. And since then, since losing Ashlyn, this team doesn't seem to have missed a beat. Can you just talk about the emotional resilience of the team to be able to withstand that?
I could say, like Coach said, next man up. I mean, we have each other's back no matter what. We have her back, and we let her know that we have her back. And we just go out there and play the game that she know we know how to play, and that we know how to play, and just play the game that we know.
Anything else for Student? Thank you, ladies.
Dawn, it seemed like they kind of maybe dared y'all to stick with them in transition and maybe didn't realize that that's where you guys are best as well. Did you kind of see that from the bench, or is it just how the game evolved?
I mean, the thing is, when you are really good at something, you're probably not as sharp with defending it in this case in transition. I mean, we wanted to play fast. We did. We wanted to get up and down the floor. We wanted to control the paint. We wanted to take rhythm threes. We wanted to just have a fluid offense. And then defensively, I mean, we knew they were going to score some in transition. We knew they were going to hit some threes. But over the 40-minute period, we wanted to just make it really hard for them to get in any rhythm, any just fluid movements. And then we wanted to take care of Beers, and that's a hard feat to do it all. I thought she was probably the hardest out that we faced. Just it's hard when she gets into your body. There's really nothing you can do. And she took advantage of us, and she got into a rhythm and started hitting shots from the outside. But I thought we took care pretty much everyone else to allow us to just build the lead and hold on to it.
Mylasia was in here a second ago just talking about kind of her overall performance. Now she's finding her love for defense. I guess, 1, was that the best you've seen her play this year today? And 2, what does that do for you when she's on the level she was today?
It's been a steady climb, probably since our Mississippi State game. It's been a climb for Lay, and it doesn't mean that she's not gonna go back to a different place. That's part of the process. It just is not going to happen. It hasn't happened in a couple of games, and that's growth. Like for me, I'm proud of her because, you know, I ask her to be a little bit more disciplined while giving her the freedom to do whatever she needs to do. But there are times in which I want to play her at the end of games, but she and I both know that's a trust thing. Like you're asking me to play you in front of some seasoned vets that have been in the program a long time. Now we do give up that her ability to impact the game on both sides of the ball. We give up that, you know, we give up, and it's a gamble. But I like to know certain things at the end of basketball games, and she's helping me. Like she's helping me, especially with this particular game, because, you know, I know she wanted to get off after the wow moment. She wanted to continue to, you know, best that wow moment, but she didn't. She just played solid defense. She took really good shots. Probably the long threes are probably, she just wanted the dagger. And so you got to let her have that space. As long as she's playing defense, I'm really fine with it. You could take bad shots, just defend.
Quick two-parter going off of that. What was going through your head when she took that shot at the end of the quarter? And I guess just kind of guard to guard with you and her, was there something about Oklahoma's pace or what they were doing that you think kind of allowed her to play so well today?
You know, I think it's more Lay. I think Lay is being more intentional about making the right basketball play. So with that, I mean, after she didn't go, when there's like 5 seconds left, I knew she was going to take the three. And I mean, she felt it. I mean, that wasn't the first time that she's done something like that either. So it was just what we needed at the end of a quarter that kind of deflates you as a defense. And then the building explodes. And that, you know, that is Gamecock basketball and Gamecock reaction to a big play.
Coach, you guys had 53 bench points today. 7 times this season, you guys scored 50 points off the bench. You guys are riding this winning streak. What does that say about this team, and how much more confidence does it give you of how well they're playing as a collective unit, bench, starters, all together?
I mean, I have the utmost confidence in our team. Like, all of them, really. I mean, it's just 2 of them, you know, Adele and Sakima are just, I mean, it's 6 bigs. It's hard to rotate. I mean, Ashlyn is not here, so there's some minutes to, you know, to divide between them. But I've chosen to get Miriam ready, and I just told them that too. Like I told Sakima and Adele, like, I mean, I chose her. It could have been any of them, but I've chose Miriam because I think Miriam gives us something different than the 2 of them. Her ability to shoot from the outside, you know, she is. I mean, she consistently boxes out, and she's unafraid defensively. Like she'll stick her nose in things. So I feel like she can give us something, but it doesn't. We're going to steadily try to get Adele and Sakima in basketball games because we know that at some point we're going to need 6'5" and 6'6". But I'm very confident with the entire roster. They have a way of playing well together. They prep extremely well. They are finding their footing. They want each other to play well, and it speaks to 26 assists on 39 field goals. It speaks to that. It speaks to Chloe giving the ball up to Raven throwing an alley-oop to Lay. It speaks to that. It's Lay turning the ball over, trying to get Adele involved in the fourth quarter. It speaks to all of those things. So we're just playing well. We're defending extremely well, and our offense is starting to find and gain its footing.
Thank you. Coach, I wonder if you could just talk about the momentum you guys have been building in spite of the fact of losing such a key player to injury, and how good that feels, especially going into what on paper looks like could be one of the more challenging weeks with LSU and then going to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think sometimes when you lose a player, you gain in other areas. Of course, we lose Ashlyn's ability to shot block and Ashlyn's ability to defend, and her ability to, rebound and score, and her ability to score, and her presence, her competitiveness, her outward, getting our players to go to another level. Yes, we miss that. But then when you take that away, then you look at, Joyce feels a lot more comfortable. For some, just she's probably getting 5 of those minutes of Ashlyn's. And you see her is paying big dividends. Chloe is a little more relaxed. And Fagan, to me, is just upped her game. And isn't anything besides comfort, knowing that I could play probably 25 minutes instead of 17. But I just feel like we didn't present like we don't have enough to continue to compete at a really high level. We as a coaching staff, we just never harp on it. Yes, we feel sorry for Ash and her not being with us. Do we have the utmost confidence in the people that are left? Absolutely.
Coach, you've been talking about your team as a whole all afternoon here. But your offense had 5 scores in double figures, and 9 of them with at least 5. What is that like when your offense can come together like that, and what does that mean with momentum rolling forward?
It means, I'm gonna tell you what it means. It means we sacrifice, we sacrifice SEC Player of the Week. We sacrifice having a National Player of the Year candidate. We sacrifice possibly some All-American. But this team is really locked into the ultimate goal of just winning and doing it for each other. Because if you get to another Final Four and you get to a national championship game, they're gonna find somebody on our team to give a All-American nod to. They have to, they have to, because we, so we give that up, but for the greater good of winning and doing things that we need to do to get better as a team, and doing things that promotes great basketball, like more eyeballs into it. Is it cool to have an All-American, a go-to player? Absolutely. And when you could do it without having one, you're really moving the needle.
Coach, you mentioned the 26 assists, but only 6 turnovers for the game. I think you had 4 until maybe like the last minute and a half. But what does that kind of say, especially someone who ran the point yourself, to see an assist turnover ratio being like the plus 20s?
Yeah.
And what does it say about kind of the way you guys move the ball and the risk aversion to not turn it over?
Obviously, we didn't go crazy off of having 22 against Texas and 15 against what did we just play? Alabama. See, I just move on. I can't. So it's not really us. Like, it hasn't been us. I think we're around 13. We averaged 13 to 15. So, we've asked our players. One of the keys is to take care of the basketball. Just don't play high risk, high reward basketball. Just let the ball find who should shoot it. Let the defense dictate who should receive the next pass. And they're really taking heart to that, because this league is unforgiving. And if you give extra possessions, they're gonna make you pay. And it's taxing on our defense to turn the ball over and have to play the way we play defensively, for 20 more possessions. That's hard.
David, you have one comment?
Hey, Coach. First time for you guys this season scoring 100 points or more. What does it feel like for you as a coach to have Adele be the one to get that and one, blow the roof off the building, and a player who plays about 5 minutes a game put you over that mark?
It's great for our fans. I think it's a great moment for Adele, because she's had to sit and she's had to be on the highlighter team for most of the Christmas break. And sometimes when a player doesn't get as much playing time as the work they're putting in, it can be deflating. It can lead to them being not as confident. But Adele is different. You know, she is she's smelling her flowers while in the moment, the time that she's getting. And that is, you know, a great character player and person. Like, she sees it. She trusts us. She trusts the process. And I know, although she looks a little raw today, she's going to be a great player for us. She's going to have a great career for us. But, you know, to put it over the top and have our fans like when we score over 100 points. They had one possession, or else I was going to slow the ball down and take the 30-second shot clock. But just a happy moment for her and our fans.
Coach, before I get into my question, do you want an Eagles score update?
Oh my God, it's tied up.
28-15, you're up.
Yes. But we got the Commanders coming up. They're playing too.
But anyways, I mean, we talk about today, just it seems like the most flawless performance you all have had so far. Great opponent, 100 points, 22-6 turnover battle. What do you take the most satisfaction in from today?
Great basketball. Just like our kids gave it up. Like, our kids played hard. Like, every possession, they played hard. They played the way we envision. You know, a lot of coaches have a vision of how they want their teams to play. That was it. I mean, yes, we gave up 60 points. Yes, you know, we turned the ball over. Yes, Beer scores, 23 points. But everything in between was like really the heart of a champion on both sides of the basketball.
Thank you. Hey, just a quick question about your new contract. You said you have no interest in coaching professional, but you have that clause in there that says you can leave without paying South Carolina anything. Why was it important for you to have that clause as part of this new contract?
I don't know. I might up and leave. No, I mean, it's you got to have something. It's a give and take, like if it was important for me to have a guaranteed contract. It's important, but in having a guaranteed contract, you got to give them something. I will never leave here to go take another college job. It's nothing. Like, I have the best of the best here. And I really don't have I don't have a passion for the next level. I don't. I would have been gone, like, seriously. Like, so to have it in there, it was just something fancy to have you ask me that question.
Talking about Joyce, I mean, obviously you knew what she was capable of coming into this season, but just what has it been like to see her develop into somewhat of a consistent leading scorer, not even 20 games into her career?
You can see it. I mean, Joyce's work ethic is unmatched. Like, it's borderline, like, it's too much. Like, but she's just driven. Like, she only knows one way. She works out before practice. She works out after practice. And I know she's in there with her dad in between. Like, that's just who she is. I want her to not be in the gym so much. I do. Like, but that's her makeup. So if she's going to be in the gym, I just had this conversation with her, then you got to take care of your body. Like, you got to go to the, cold whirlpool, hot contract. You have to take care of your body, because the pace that she works out and practices, it's hard during the season. It's really hard. I don't think she really knows, like, what a college season feels like. I know she knows halfway through the season, but it gets, your legs get heavier, it gets harder. And sometimes when you physically can't do something, you have to mentally your mentals have to take over. And I think she's strong, yes, but she hasn't really been pushed to that point where she's got to tap into her mentals. It's going to happen this season. It's going to happen at some point. So we just have to prepare her for just when that happens. And sometimes preparing her is just kind of, probably not just lightening her load a little bit with, Miriam's, ramping up. Adele's ramping up. Skima's ramping up. So we just have to be ready for if that takes place.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank y'all.